Poem of the Week number 2, Surprised by Joy by William Wordsworth, 1770 to 1850. As a rebuttal to anyone who thought that I was devaluing Wordsworth's standing with my last entry, do not misunderstand me. Wordsworth is one of the greatest poets that Europe has ever produced. The problem, however, is that for the handful of sublimely great poems that he did write, there are entire volumes of lackluster verse. While every great poet in the end is simply remembered for a handful of poems of true quality, the difference between the small amount of good and the great amounts of plain bad with Wordsworth is so palpable. But this does not tarnish his legacy a jot. So enjoy one of the greatest sonnets and one of the saddest poems our language has to offer. Surprised by Joy. Surprised by joy, impatient as the wind, I turn to share the transport. Oh, with whom but thee, long buried in the silent tomb, that spot which no vicissitude can find. Love, faithful love, recall thee to my mind, but how could I forget thee? Through what power, even for the least division of an hour, have I been so beguiled as to be blind to my most grievous loss? That thought's return was the worst pang that sorrow ever bore, save one only, when I stood forlorn, knowing my heart's best treasure was no more, that neither present time nor years unborn could to my sight that heavenly face restore. Form. Petrarchan sonnet written in iambic pentameter. Analysis. This poem is addressed to the poet's daughter, Catherine, who died in childhood. The poem starts with the poet being interrupted, surprised by a feeling of happiness. What the cause of this happiness is not mentioned. However, the poet relates how his instinctive desire is to share it with the person he holds dearest, in this case, naturally, his daughter. With this reflection, the poem shifts just as quickly out of joy as it came into it. The greater feeling of sorrow that consumes the rest of the poem is not so much due to the fact that he cannot share his joy with his daughter, as it is the guilt of having forgotten about her, even if it was for the slightest fraction in time. The pain this guilt causes, the poet says, is the worst he has ever felt, except one, of course, the moment when he first found out that his daughter had died, and which he now must recall again. What consolation is possible then? The sorrow is not principally that of a tragedy of a child's death, but rather the idea that the poet will not be able to be happy ever again.